Okay, today we are going to make another equation for this situation in which Jessie is making punch. On your half sheet, I have created a table for you. I have created space for us to make a graph, and then there's space for us to write and talk about an equation. So in this situation, I'm going to read it, and I'm going to circle anything that I think might be important and underline the question so that we know exactly what we're trying to do. It says Jessie is making punch. For every 3 cups of juice, he needs 6 cups of seltzer. Now, to me, that makes it sound like the amount of seltzer depends on the amount of juice. So this is going to be my x variable, this is going to be my y variable. I'm also going to just label that in this case in my table, just so that I remember that later. Represent this proportional relationship using a table, a graph, and an equation, and identify the constant of proportionality. Remember, that just means the unit rate. So we're going to have to use a table, a graph, and an equation. And they want us to know, or to tell them, what does the constant of proportionality represent in this situation? So we're going to have to be able to explain that as well. So for my table, I already started it for us. If we have 3 cups of juice, we need 6 cups of seltzer. What I'd like you to do now is plug in different values that you know will fit. Pause the video and do that now. Okay, hopefully you came up with values such as 2, 4. If I have 2 cups of juice, then I need 4 cups of seltzer. Or 1, 2. If I have 1 cup of juice, I need 2 cups of seltzer. I can also put in fractions or decimals. If I have 1.5 cups of juice, then I need 3 cups of seltzer. 2.5 cups of juice gives me 5 cups of seltzer. 3.5 cups of juice gives me 7 cups of seltzer. And if I have 4 cups of juice, I need 8 cups of seltzer. So from here, we can find our unit rate. What do I do each time to get the cups of seltzer? 4 times 2 gives me 8. 3.5 times 2 gives me 7. 3 times 2 gives me 6. And so on and so forth. Remember, when your x value is 1, that also tells you your unit rate. So if x is 1, then I have to have 2 cups of seltzer. That's my unit rate. And I can see that because I multiply all of the x values by 2 to get the y values. Okay, so if we make a graph of this, remember your x value goes along the bottom and our y value goes along the side. So I'm going to make this graph y, x. This is my juice, and this is my seltzer. Okay, and I'm going to just go up by ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then my juice goes by, I'm going to go by halves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? Remember, this is my origin. That has to be on my graph because it's a proportional relationship. Now, if I have 1 cup of juice, that means I have 2 cups of seltzer. If I have 1.5 cups of juice, then I have 3 cups of seltzer. And so on. I'm going to continue to plot my points. You do this now with me. Okay, and then I'm going to draw my line. It should be straight. Now, we're not using graph paper, so if it's not exactly straight, that's okay. And we're going to look at when x is 1, what's our y value? That tells us our unit rate. Now, the problem says we need to write an equation, and we also need to identify what the constant of proportionality represents in this situation. So, the constant of proportionality is 2. That means that k equals 2. Remember that k from yesterday? Okay, we said that x is going to equal the juice and that y is going to equal the seltzer. So we can write our equation y equals 2 times x. Because that's exactly what we did in our table to get each of the y values. We took the x and multiplied it by 2 to get the y. So we take whatever x and we multiply it by 2 to get the y. So what if we're having a party and we have to have enough juice and seltzer to feed like 60 people? And the recipe says that we need 10 cups of juice. If x equals 10, then we're going to plug it in to our equation. And I multiply. 2 times 10 is 20. That means we need 20 cups of seltzer. So, in order to write an equation from any situation, you find the unit rate. That's what we did in the table and the graph. And you plug it into your equation where the k goes. Y equals k times x.